But that really messed me up. Didn't have anything to do with me being adopted. Although it did cross my mind, maybe I'm acting like my biological mom, but I don't know anything about her. But those kind of thoughts do cross your mind. I'm sorry about the English. When you think about your choices in life, is the reason I'm being so rebellious, does it come from my biological mom or dad, or does my issues come from your biological parents? But it's actually just a thing that triggered certain stuff in my life. No, I never had an issue towards her ever. I don't know her. I think I thought in my mind that the reason I was maybe rebellious or whatever you want to call it was my own issues, and I just wanted to play the blame game, because I don't know her, so why would I blame her for anything? I did feel that my parents were they're still overprotective. I think they are overprotective parents, but in a good way. But when you're rebellious, obviously it comes off as you can't do anything, you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that. But I think it's just the way they understood. They did the best to their capabilities to raise me. When I had that issues, I think we will all find out one day when we have kids. It's not easy to deal with a teenager. And I did also go through a suicidal thing, but it was more for seeking attention. In my profession now, I see, wow, I really had some issues that was very stupid. I never blamed her. Actually, I'm very grateful she gave me up for adoption, because I don't know what my life would be like if she did decide to keep me. Yeah. Looking back, I'm going off topic, I don't know how to answer your question, but looking back, where I'm at the place now for seeing patients that has unwanted pregnancies, obviously I'm not for abortion, but I can be a testimony and say, look, I was adopted, so there is that option. So I feel it's more of a testimony than anything else. I'm more grateful towards her. If I ever meet her, I'll just say thank you, have a nice day, and be on my way. I think my dad will have a longer chat with her than I would ever have. But the issues came more, I don't know why I had issues. There was this one sermon of some dude that I can't remember, and he did a sermon on the adoption of sonship or daughtership, whatever. And when he did that sermon, I could relate so much, because I come from feeling like an outcast because of the sticker of you were adopted. But no one ever treated me like that in the family. I don't know why. It was probably my own mind. I was never treated like, me and my brother were never treated as adopted kids, or you don't fit in. But there was one time in high school, not in high school, grade 7 was that, primary school. My one friend found out, and then she told everyone, obviously not everyone, but she told people in school. No one really reacted to it, but for me it felt like, oh my goodness, no one's gonna like me because I'm adopted. But nothing came of it, but I felt quite exposed. But at the end of the day, I just made peace with it, because I don't see my parents as those people that adopted me. I think it's different for a child that was adopted from a different age, like maybe 5, 6 years old, when you can actually understand what's going on and you grew up with parents and now you're being taken away. So I had a friend and her parents, she was my best friend. She's not my best friend anymore, but anyway, her parents used to party with them, us, and it looked super cool to me that, you can smoke happily and you can get drunk there and no one mind. And then my dad was the type of person that's like 8 o'clock we used to hand in our phones. I'm serious. And well, we knew where they hid it, so we would just go and get it again. But hand in our phones. There was a cut-off time for coming back from parties, or a certain time that we need to be outside, and he wouldn't mind coming in if you're late, coming into the place to come and fetch you. So that happened once where I was fetched, and it was very embarrassing for your father to come and fetch you. So the one evening I was at this girl's house, my dad phones, he's like, why aren't you home yet? Went back, very drunk. Went up to their room and I was like, shame. I said, you guys are the worst parents. Why can't you be like this girl's parents? They are so laid back, we can do whatever we want, whatever. And then my dad laughed. He said, you're drunk, we'll talk when you're sober tomorrow morning. I said, I'm not going to sleep here, I'm going back to her house, I'm going to spend the night there. And I'll never forget getting into the car, because I had a car, and I'm driving out and he's in his boxer pants. Doesn't wear underwear, but I just saw him in the rear view mirror running after me, no shirt on, slamming on the window, don't drive, you're drunk, don't drive. And then I drove anyway. Now when I think about it, it makes me sad. I was drunk, didn't care. So he was friends with them. He phoned them up just to make sure I'm there. Next day when I got there, it was like, this is the moment. I didn't know if I'm gonna ever see the light of day again. So they sat me down. They were actually very chilled about it. They said, which part in my childhood do I feel that they messed up, or where can they be better parents? And I actually didn't have an answer, because they were amazing parents. So I said, I think I just said it out of drunkenness or whatever. They said, no, it must have come from somewhere. So, I really didn't have an answer. And my mother, I think I still have that letter. Should have brought it. But it's in Afrikaans. She wrote me like an essay of how much she loves me and they love me and how much they support me and everything. And if there's anything we ever need to talk about, if I have to write a letter, we can do it. Because my dad and I really clash, because we have the same kind of personality, and my mom is the mediator, so I'm more open towards my mom. But now it's both sides, it doesn't matter. But at that time I felt I couldn't communicate with my dad that well. But they were always open. They were always like, if you want to have a party, you can do it at our place. We don't care if people are smoking. But obviously I was smoking as well, so it's difficult. And they did catch me at the end. But you want to be two-faced, because I was sort of doing good in my grades, but I was also partying very hard. So I was, women can do both things at the same time. So that was kind of a key moment. I'll never forget that day. That, and it didn't really change me, but it changed the way I see my parents. Was my brother and my dad had a big argument. I don't know about what. And he said to my dad something, I don't remember exactly the words. He said something in the line of, "We're not of the same blood. Why would you care?" And he stormed off out of the house, around the block, and came back, rang the bell. But when I saw my dad's face, it was very, very heartbreaking, because to us, or for them, we are their kids. And to hear, I think, we are not of the same blood, but all along we've been treated as their own, which we are. But I think it really broke his heart to hear that. So I think after that happened, I just decided, to be more conscious of the words I say, like, "I hate you," which is a teenage thing, but for them it's much more personal when you say "I hate you," because then they question, did we do something wrong? Are we bad parents? Are we doing this parenthood thing right? Which they did an excellent job. Look at me. But those were two moments that I really remember that changed my perspective on how to communicate with them. Other than that, things that negatively shaped me, there was this one dude from Welkom here. I won't mention his name for security purposes. We were in a relationship. We were very serious, and I thought maybe I'll marry this guy. Thank God I didn't marry him. And in my mind, this is what happened. So university, we got physical and all that stuff, and he was like my first, but he never asked me to have sex. So in my mind, I feel I was raped. Not that I had to report it or anything, but he never asked consent. And I felt like ashamed to tell my mom, let alone my dad, because he would go murder someone. So from that moment, I kind of became very obsessed, not obsessed, but kind of, I can't find the word. After that happened, I felt like we have to get married because of what happened, but then he cheated on me. And because he cheated on me, I went crazy in the mind and started, Anthony knows about this, started sleeping around a lot, because I don't know, I was looking for something, probably Jesus, didn't find it, but that really messed me up. Didn't have anything to do with me being adopted, although it did cross my mind, maybe I'm acting like my biological mom, but I don't know anything about it. But those kind of thoughts do cross your mind, I'm sorry about the English, when you think about your choices in life. Is the reason I'm being so rebellious, does it come from my biological mom or dad, or does my issues come from your biological parents? But it's actually just a thing that triggered certain stuff in my life. So after that, basically what he told me when he cheated on me, he said, I'm gonna break up with you. After I caught him, I left it. I wanted him to tell me. He said, there's another girl, we've been seeing each other, which I knew. We've been seeing each other she's much better than you in bed, and I don't mind if you post this, okay? And she looks much better aesthetically down there than you did. And that was wow. I mean, that was hectic. After he said that, that's when I something went scruffy, rolled away in my brain. And I kind of looked for that compliment. You're good in bed, it looks nice down there. I'm sorry, you can cut that if you want, but I looked for that because it was an issue for me. What's wrong with me? Why did he say that? Will I not ever be good enough? It's kind of a big issue for a guy, sex. I heard from counseling premarital. It's important, but that time I wasn't saved. So I even had surgery done to fix that issue because it was such a big issue for me. And when we got married, he was like, there's nothing wrong there. It's like, but I had it fixed. It's like, well, I don't care what it looks like. It is what it is. But it was a big issue for me. But our faithful pastor had a good sermon on forgiveness, and it took years to actually sit and forgive him. And I came to a place where I literally found him, because it was so big on my heart to forgive this guy, but I really didn't want to do it. So I phoned him up and I was like, I don't even know where you're at in life. I just want to say I forgive you. I don't know if it means anything to you, but I'm forgiving you. Have a nice day. I didn't even wait for a response, and I just said goodbye. And that was the kind of deleted the number, not deleted the memories, but just turned it into a testimony rather than. Resentment is such an ugly thing, and unforgiveness as well. So it's better just to forgive and get over it. But that's hard. It's hard, especially if it's so personal. Extremely personal. University would be those. How long was it there? 4 years. It was quite bad. But you keep up a good face. But it was quite bad. I was drinking a lot. Man, my liver looks different right now. But I can't really say what the trigger was. Honestly, I don't also think I have to go for counseling for that. Maybe I'll find something out that I don't even want to know about. But I was drinking pretty heavily. I didn't do drugs. I was smoking weed. Cigarettes, obviously, hubbly, sleeping around. I don't know what I was looking for. That was what I was. We know the answer that I was looking for, but basically trying to find myself and my identity in the world. Never found it really, and obviously, it's not even relationships. Sleeping around a lot really messes with you. I don't know how it is for a guy, but for a girl it really messes you up. I regret a lot of things, but I'm grateful that I did go through those things, because it shaped me into the human I am today. Not that I'm perfect or anything. That's where I think I wouldn't want my kids to have the same experience. I think the one thing I do wish my parents did more was just explain why. I think we were told I don't even think we were told not to have sex. It's just a thing we know, don't have sex. But don't do this, and this is why. And if you do it, just know 1, 2, 3. We were just told drinking is bad, having sex before marriage is wrong, but never why. And if you do it, what's the consequence thereof? I wish I loved more on my parents when I was a teenager. I was extremely rebellious. Like, one of the first things I did do when I became born again is I phoned up my parents and I just said, I'm so sorry, I was such a bad child. I apologize. And I think there was a time when me and my dad, we sat and we had a chat, and I just told him a few things of what I went through, and he was quite shocked. And we were also a little bit influenced under alcohol. Yes, we can have alcohol, but we were having a little bit dronkverdriet, and the one thing he and my mom said was, why didn't you tell us? We could have helped you.